This is the story of the Nanda Devi Sanctuary, one of the great mountain ranges in India and known world over among mountaineers. It is like a unique place in the history of mountaineering and climbing. The Nanda Devi Sanctuary and the central peak Nanda Devi stands prominently and is seen from most of the places in Kumaon and Garhwal, and hence it is worshipped as the blessed giving goddess. It is the most well-known name, and religiously it has got plenty of significance for the locals, and they have a variety of theories and temples spread all over Kumaon. Now, the route to Nanda Devi Sanctuary is through one gorge, which you will see here towards the northern side, this red line, and it leads you to the inner sanctuary. There is an outer sanctuary, inner sanctuary, and Nanda Devi, two peaks standing in center. And both are lovely mountains. And the inside, the whole, there are several glaciers, five glaciers in fact, and all water of these five glaciers, they all drain through this one outlet called the Rishi Gorge. And that's the Rishi Ganga, which ultimately goes down to meet different rivers and becomes the main Ganga, which they join up at lower down in the hills. So this is the mountains. The whole range is somewhere. There are 17 peaks, about 21,000 feet, and there is no other known depression than this. So it is a very unique geological feature in the world. Now, the inquiry into Nanda Devi started with W. W. Graham, senior on left, and he was followed by Hugh Rutledge, who also interested in looking at it. But it was Dr. Tom Longstaff, in the picture right, who made a first major foray into the sanctuary, and he reached this col on the eastern side, and it is still bears his name, the Longstaff Col. He could look into the sanctuary, but he did not descend, and the visit to sanctuary still remained. That was left to Shipton and Tillman here, who came with an energetic band of three Sherpas, including the famous Pasang Tharke, here seen on the left. And they also believe in a very small, gentle planning, almost so much so that Shipton said that expedition should be planned only on the back of an envelope. So they made a foray in 1934, traveling by ship and trying to find out the route through Rishi Gorge. When the monsoon caught up, they could not find the exact route. They put all their luggage somewhere safely in a cave, food and equipment, and then went down to make another exploration from Badrinath to Kedarnath. And after the rains, they came back and continued their entry into Nanda Devi Sanctuary. This is the Ramni, where they came quite quickly and easily, and from there they started entering the gorge. One of the major point of the gorge, difficulty, crux, what to say, is the going through this rocky patch, which he named it as the slab. It is quite a complicated and very exposed thing to go in, and today also it remains a very major challenge. Once inside, they knew that climbing a peak, there was not enough time and equipment, so they decided to explore the sanctuary thoroughly. And here they are on the southern side of the sanctuary, looking at the twin peaks of Nanda Devi. And they decided to go to the extreme southern end of the sanctuary, going through crevasses and difficult terrain. And what they wanted was to descend through this Sundardunga Khal into the Kumaon, Sundardunga Valley. And this trees and greenery looked very appealing, and they thought they would go, but they found it very difficult to go. It was in 1936, British organized an Everest expedition, which Shipton on the left here accepted, while Tillman denied to go and elected to go to Nanda Devi. So this was the great duo who was back here, and this was an American-British expedition led by many famous mountaineers, and it was a very grand trip to come here. When they came in, they saw this wonderful pyramid of Nanda Devi, and it looked very imposing, but they were also well prepared for it. But as they climbed on, it transpired that many of the members were sick, and it was finally Tillman and companion Odell who was the fittest enough to go up. Odell was an experienced mountaineer who in 1924 was on Everest with Irwin and Mallory. And in fact, he was the last person to shake hands with Mallory and see him on the upper range before they disappeared. Here with the most primitive equipment compared to today. Uh, it was they started going up the wall, just two of them, and with hemp rope, long ice axes, and very ordinarily made hand masks. They were there, and ultimately from the top they have a summit was climbed, and they came a very venerable and very, let's say, devotion to goddess. They write, after the first joy in victory came a feeling of sadness that the mountain had succumbed, that the proud head of the goddess was bowed. They was almost complaining that they should not have done this. They were great guys. Now with this history, in 2001, we came as the IMF expedition, Indian Mountaineering Foundation, to inquire into the sanctuary that it has been closed for a while and now it should be opened or not. 1983, it was closed and now we are inquiring into 2001. We're a team of scientists and mountaineers, trekkers, and with lots of porters hired from Ladakh and well equipped to go into the sanctuary. We started climbing up from Lata village and straight 5,000 feet up to Lata Kharak. And there we got a lovely view of Basartoli and Trishul mountains. They both look beautiful from this Kharak and from far away. On the right side was Trishul, which was a quite flat and easy mountain. And it was Longstaff, who in 1907, when he reached the Longstaff call and could not enter the sanctuary, almost made a full turn, came down to Lata village and climbed towards Trishul. And this was the mountain range he climbed, but in style. He made a camp at around 18,000 feet and went to the summit of this peak, 23,000, and came down to 18,000 feet. So that made it almost 10,000 feet of up and down. But not satisfied, he packed up his tent and went down another 2,000 feet. So in a way, in a day, at this high altitude, he had done about 12,000 feet of climbing of mountains, which was a very rare feat even today. Then there was an expedition in 1970 from Mumbai with me as a leader, and we came down to attempt Mathartoli Himal, Twin Peaks. A German expedition had climbed the south peak, but the main peak was completely virgin and unclimbed. We had to make a big team and big plan. Myself on the right, Ramesh Desai, and one Sherpa, Napa Sherpa, we reached the summit of South Peak pretty easily. And we had sent another team to climb the main peak. This is on the left, Angkami Sherpa, one of the well-known Sherpa of that time, and who was the youngest person to have climbed Everest. And he shakes hands and goes to the right to Bathartoli main peak. And little did we or he realize that this was the last handshake of Angkami, for he perished on the mountain and never came back. In fact, the whole team was caught in an avalanche, having camped, and there was a bad storm. And after waiting for 3 days, they decided to come out somewhere. But then a big avalanche came, and out of 7-member team, 5 were thrown down in everywhere, while 2, Pasang Temba and Arun Saman, in a heroic rescue effort, came out. 4 people died in the mountain, and only one body of Nitin Patil, a brilliant student from Mumbai, was found. The rest were never located. Our expedition carried on, and we reached Dharashi Pass. This was the first pass which Shipton and Tillman had difficulty in finding. Before there are 3 notches, and they had to examine all of them to find out which notch to cross. And on the other side of the pass, there's the Malathuni Pass, almost like a big open ground and with a lovely view of Nanda Devi. And this we're entering now the outer sanctuary. Down below is the Dibrugheta Alp, one of the beautiful place. And today one is allowed to go up to Dibrugheta Alp. Beyond this, the sanctuary is fully restricted. We camped at Dibrugheta, and there were many discussions about forest and environment and future plans and everything. So the team was gelling well and doing everything better. From Dibrugata, as you climb up, there is a little rock marker. This has been featured also in the book of the French Indo-Japanese, I mean French Japanese. I'm sorry, it was marked into French traverse expedition of Nanda Devi. Well, Nanda Devi has these twin peaks, and which is joined by a long ridge, 2 kilometer long ridge, and the ridge is nowhere less than 22,000 feet. And it was always an attractive challenge for mountaineers to do this. And the French were first to came. They came as a very strong young team, which they came and then established themselves at the base camp. And one team climbed the eastern peak, and from there to traverse to the main peak. They were seen getting down from the main peak and never to be seen again. This team was in 7 things. They climbed the Nanda Devi East Peak 2-3 times to try and locate their friends, but nothing was found and nobody was traced. Finally, they left a little souvenir carved on rocks for their friends, and this was the end of the first attempt on the Nanda Devi traverse. As we proceeded through the gorge, there was beautiful views of Nanda Devi occasionally, and the vegetation and everything was changing. We had to cross Rishi Ganga, and that was done on an improvised bridge, which took us a long time to build and almost the whole day to cross the river. There were different sections of ladders we had brought, so they all had to be joined with ropes. And as they sank, everything had to be done and to be go across. And from there, it was a kind of a going along the route to Ramani, that famous cave from where the real climbing starts, or real climbing of the gorge starts. As you go up, the whole gorge initially is flattening up, but there are lots of ups and downs. And you will find here all of our porters climbing up into the gorge. And as you go up, the view behind opens up, particularly this view of this Curtain Ridge. Chris Shipton had named this as a Curtain Ridge. It juts out a rock towards the river, and that does not that prohibits the river to be traversed at the foot of it, and we had to come through that Malathoni Pass, which is on the shoulder of this rocky peak. And from here we climbed up, and there were two major markers which were made for many years before. From there we get a lovely view of Shiv Mountains. First was again Trishul, but now in a very different direction, and the three fangs of Trishul are seen here very clearly. Now, when the British left India in 1947 on Indian independence, it was presumed now that the mountaineering as a sport will be over, because the Indians had not climbed anything, and they had no training or preparations, and one did not know how much help they would require or how enthusiastic they will be. But soon in 1951, an expedition came led by Roy Greenwood, here you see in the center, and Gurdial Singh to his left from Doon School to organize an expedition to climb Trishul. And thus this became one of the first expeditions to climb any mountain peak in Himalaya. Kesar Singh here and Greenwood were on the summit with Gurdial Singh, and the high mountain peak was climbed first by the Indians. And to celebrate, Greenwood, who was a deputy instructor, did a handstand on the summit at Trishul. And then, not to be outdone, Gurdial Singh made a Shirshasana, another yoga pose. And it was with this humble and nice Indian gestures that the age of mountaineering for Indian climbers began. And one must imagine this whole thing is happening at 23,000 feet, not a small height. Then from here, you could look at what is known as the Nanda Devi affair, written by Bill Aitken. In 1960s, the satellite technology was not well developed, and there was always a threat that the Chinese will experiment with the nuclear bomb on the Tibetan plateau, particularly in Lok Nor lakeside, and the world will never know. So the Americans came out with a plan to put isotopes, nuclear filled isotopes in the summit of Nanda Devi. So if any blast takes place on the Tibetan plateau, these isotopes will react and Americans would know that something is developing in China. And so this was American plan, which was accepted by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Indian Prime Minister. Just to make it clear, right from Tibet, you have a view of Nanda Devi. Here you see in the left side center, and Changabang Kalanka. And this directly is in line with the Tibetan plateau. And toward his right is Kamet, which was also considered, but then ultimately Nanda Devi was selected to put these nuclear isotopes. And this shows clearly that from Nanda Devi, it's a direct line with the plateau where everything was happening or supposed to be happening on the Chinese side. Captain Kohli, India's well-known famous mountaineer, was put in charge of the Indian side, which he selected. And with him were 1963 Everest climbers from America, all legend in its own way and very strong mountaineers who came. And this was supposed to be a very hush, unknown expeditions. Though porters, of course, they carried everything load, so they knew about it. And we are constantly being told, sir, don't tell anybody, but this is what has happened. So in Himalaya, to keep things hidden is very difficult. But everything came out ultimately by when Captain Kohli with another author wrote a book, Spice in the Himalaya, where he narrated how it plant came around, how it was done, and how everything was organized. But then strange thing had happened. They carried this nuclear-filled isotope till Camp 4, which is quite heavy and a nice isotope to carry here. And by that time the monsoon came, so they made a big platform, tied this up with ropes and left it there. That will go down, and after the rains will come back and take this to the summit of Nanda Devi, which they did. Next year, next 2 months, they came here and reached Camp 4, and to utter surprise and shock, the nuclear isotope was missing. Only presumption was that it has fallen down into the Rishi Ganga, and that was a serious thing because it is in a cascade and it was full with uranium. And if this cascade breaks now or that time or now, it will always cause a huge catastrophe into the water, which was the Rishi Ganga was one of the major feeders of the Ganga. They could not find anything. They tried several helicopter sorties for months together. It was being located. Another expedition went and looked down. But that discovery of the isotopes was not possible. So that time, as an emergency measure, they gave it up and put it on Nanda Devi, Nanda Court, and came back. Here we are proceeding further into the gorge, which is now heading towards that great item of slab. This is the slab which Shipton had found out with a great difficulty. And here we had to fix ropes for all the porters and members to go on. And you could see it is very exposed, the rock slabs falling straight down to the river. And in fact, if you drop one or two equipment, which we did, it straight brushed off into the river and was never recovered. So it has to be very careful movement. Here you see the rope is fixed and one of our member is walking across the rope coming up to the rocky face. But one of the member of a doctor lost a little nerve and he had to be escorted. And that sort of things can become a very serious challenge which we had to go through. From this rock slab, there was another point, one of the final crux of the going into the sanctuary was a very thin layer of climb which he had to do with a wall on one side and steep fall on the other side. This was named as the Vaikunth Gully, the pathway to heaven. For if you climb, you will reach the heaven of Nanda Devi, but if you fall, you may go to the real heaven. So we were there, and it is a kind of a finally ending up into a gully which had to be gone up, which we did, and had to be go at a very steady space and very great balance. And as you climb up this gorge, the whole Rishi Ganga and its gorge were looking magnificently down, and one could realize how much difficult portions we have come through. But now we will enter the sanctuary, made a camp at what is known as Dobata, There are two rivers, two paths meet. And we were to acclimatize and organize ourselves, all our activities from this camp. We built a small temple in memory of my late son, Lieutenant Nawang Kapadia. He had sacrificed his life in Kashmir and became a martyr to protect the Himalaya. And with all the local stones, we built up a kind of a temple to his memory. From this camp, we could look towards the north, and it was a very unknown and very still unclimbed peaks. A Japanese expedition had only gone in 1975, and they camped at Rishihal and climbed one high peak. But otherwise, there are not many visitors to Nanda Devi North Sanctuary, which remains a very good challenge. When, of course, the main view was a golden sunset on Nanda Devi towards right side. In fact, Nanda Devi is a peak which stands in such a unique position that the first ray of the sun and the last rays of the sun always touches it. And that gives spectacular views and spectacular photographs. Now, in the northernmost point of the Nanda Devi sanctuary, where was a peak called Changabang. Now, this peak of Changabang was a sharp rocky pinnacle and always known, but it was always thought this cannot be climbed. In fact, an Indian-British expedition came led by Sir Chris Bonington and Colonel Sandhu to climb this peak, and the porters were very certain that this cannot be climbed. And when the British made a first ascent, they were convinced that they had a kind of a gum in their hand, which they put it on the rock and by which they could go up. Otherwise, to them, this was an absolutely horrendous peak. But then they had found out a very lovely route going across and completely turning the mountain to go toward the summit. And the last portions were very challenging and very difficult. But this was a team of very experienced mountaineers with Bonington, Doug Scott, and here also Colonel Sandhu, which were very good mountaineers. Here they reached the summit, and this was one of the major heroic points of Nanda Devi Sanctuary that was climbed. Now, at the same time, Bombay team, myself and my 5 friends, we were walking into the Nanda Devi South Sanctuary. In fact, we were just 2 days away. 2 days behind this Changabang expedition, and we were just following them. We made a base camp, and from there we could see this grand face of Nanda Devi, west face. It is solid rock and very steep and very long. When the Nanda Devi opens, I am sure modern rock climbers would vie for it, and you will find them everywhere going for this peak. And the Nanda Devi's peak from the south looks terrific. We follow this snow ridge to a camp, and then another last camp is made on the upper snow from where the summit was climbed. And to join to it is Nanda Devi East, which was first climbed in 1939 by a police expedition. And later it was repeated sometimes, but then one of the major Indian climb was done by the army, and recently by Anindya Mukherjee, a mountaineer from Calcutta. Now we had to climb the peak Devtoli, here you see, and we are faced with a very huge crevasse ground, and wanted to go through these crevasses to ultimately climb to the summit. We made a camp in between with a lovely view of Sundardunga Khal here in clouds and peak Panwali Dwar looking behind. And the view all over stupendous with the Karim Road, Nanda Ghat, Nanda Kot and Panchachuli, all of one of the most magnificent panoramas of Kumaon and Garhwal. We had to climb next day through a very big cornice, and we were on the summit. It was one of the beautiful and at the same time north and south points of inner sanctuary Nanda Devi were climbed within 5 days of each other. We could look down to the Trishul Nala, which we had come from Basatoli Himalaya, and this is the route by which Amir Ali had come and climbed Mriguthuni, the first ascent. So there we were, but as the clouds gathered, we had to wait for a while for it to clear to go down. And that's why we came, and there was a kind of crevasse like this, which we had to cross. And we were 4 in a rope, and when the Sherpa crossed, he went up with a very gingerly. But when I was on the bridge collapsed, and I was thrown down, held by ropes from both sides. hanging onto the ice. And it was not possible to pull me out because the edges were soft and ropes will go in. So Sherpa went down to help get more help and get some more equipment while I remained hanging. And those days we never had any harness, so it was just a rope, which ultimately was choking me, and I would have been unconscious and frostbitten very soon. So after half an hour of hanging, I took out a small knife and cut my rope because to me the ground down below appeared full of snow, and I thought I might just escape by jumping into the snow. But it turned out to be a little snow but ice, and I dislocated my left hip, which we of course never knew that time. But a huge amount of pain shot up, and as I waited there, the party from below came, and my friend Justice Boga rappelled into the party and to keep me warm and nice. Next day, I was pulled out with a great strength and but with great pain, and we camped under the edge. And a sledge out of the tent was made, and they started pulling me in a very painful way. Once the snow was over, I had to be carried back to back, and only one person, here Lakshman Singh, could carry me. And it was a very, very slow progress. When some woods were found, they made a stretcher by which I was accordingly taken the stretcher. They fell once, and it was very, very painful shouting and a very dangerous affair. Established at the base camp, we had already sent Subhash Desai down to arrange for a helicopter. So only Boga and myself remained. Others went down, and we were waiting for the helicopter. It was almost of an psychiatrist-like experience. Every little flap of the tent moves, and I would jump out helicopter, or some stuff starts and porters will come out. Sir, helicopter aa gaya. So it was a very tense moment, and finally chopper came on the third day, and I was put it inside. And from the chopper itself, I could look at the photograph of Nanda Devi Gorge, the Rishi Gorge, which looked terrifying from the air. With this, now the major things were done in on the sanctuary, but another thing remained was this traverse of this peaks. That peaks had to be traversed, and that was the only Japanese team with Indian Japanese team agreed to do this, and that was the team came in 1978 ultimately. And this to reach, they were very team which was fully experienced and very well laden and a very strong arm techniques. They established a camp and started planning in a big way. And here you could say that on the left side you have this little traverse, and that traverse led down to Nanda Devi East. So they climbed Nanda Devi East, and from there they look at the ridge, which looked horrible. A very major challenge into the mountains that you go down and you have to traverse this sort of ridge, and then ultimately after this you have to climb this summit of Nanda Devi. It was one of the most magnificent and challenging climb or traverse ever done in Himalaya. Then after about 2 years came an expedition of American and British again. And this American expert, this is the picture of the 1936 team which had made the first ascent of Nanda Devi. And the members from this expedition came 40 years later to celebrate that first ascent. On the right side, you see a young boy standing, and that was Adams Carter. And he became the one longest serving, most well known and famous editor of the American Alpine Journal for many, many years. And now he was leading this expedition at a very gracefully old age of the American climbers to climb Nanda Devi. Now with them was a famous climber in this beard called John Ross Kelly, but the main attraction of this expedition was a girl named Nanda Devi. His father, William Soule, was on an expedition of this hush hush expedition of nuclear affair to Nanda Devi, and he's so much of attracted by the mountains that he named his daughter Nanda Devi, who turned into a very beautiful girl with a good amount of climbing experience. But here on this trip, she was not keeping well, and she had a very lot of stomach upsets and problem. But the father left it to her to decide, very strangely, that whether she wants to go up or not. So they finally went up because it was important for the expedition to announce in America that Nanda Devi climbs Nanda Devi. They went up by a very different and separate route, but somewhere half on the mountain at the camp, Nanda Devi took a lot of sick and she could not barely get up. She clutched the hands of her father and died. So that became a very tragic moment, and Americans were shattered, and so were all entire Indian men. And because the whole news spread very well that Nanda Devi had died on Nanda Devi. But not to be outdone, John Ross Kelly, in a very serious affair, after about 5 days later, climbed up the north face of Nanda Devi and reached the summit. And he wrote a book after about almost 10 years to describe the Nanda Devi, the tragedy, and that book gave us all the details. Nanda Devi was a nice, beautiful girl, and she was a very good climber, but for this little problem with her health, which she should have stopped down below, she gave up her life. In fact, her father, William Sold, was so much upset with his death and the circumstances that after 2 years he was found dead at the bottom of a rock. Whether it was an accident or a suicide, would never know. A small monument was made for Nanda Devi at the base camp of Nanda Devi's sanctuary, and this remained a very major tragic reminder. Now, with this, we had done a lot in Nanda Devi, and we are nearing our scientific explorations and recording everything. But one thing that remained was to reach the Nanda Devi southern point, called the Sundar Dunga Khal, from where Shipton and Tillman had exited. That has not been visited. So that was taken up by Motup and his Sherpas.
In the summer of 1934, the legendary explorer duo of Rick Shipton and Bill Tillman successfully solved the great mystery of entering the inner sanctuary of Nanda Devi. According to Hugh Rutledge, the success gained by Shipton and Tillman, accompanied by their three legendary Sherpas of Angthake, Pasang and Kusang, is one of the greatest feats in mountaineering history. And he considered this area more inaccessible than the North Pole. Mr. Harish Kapadia, the leader of our expedition, suggested that I should try to reach Sundar Dunga Khal, as this pass had not been reached by anyone after Shipton and Tillman in 1934. Their epic crossing of the Sundar Dunga Khal into Pindari nearly led them into close disaster when they descended a 6,000 feet precipice into what they believed from over a mile above was a lush valley, but turned out to be a frighteningly steep descent of ice and rock, from which there was no escape, and Eric Shipton later said that no sane person should repeat this route. For me, just the thought of following the footsteps of this legendary explorer was a good reason to attempt to reach Sundar Dunga Khal. On 14 June 2001, accompanied by two Sherpas, Samgyal and Drukputsring, for Darjeeling, left base camp and reached the Dakhni Rashi Glacier, where we camped at 4,800 meters. The next day, we traversed the upper slopes, keeping above the glacier moraine and finally descending to cross the moraine. We climbed on the right of the glacier and camped on a small snow plateau of 5,000 meters. June 16 was partly cloudy, and we started early around 5 a.m. First, we traversed under the slopes of Peak Cream Roll, which is to the east of Sundar Dunga Khal, where we had to negotiate huge crevasses. The western slopes of Sundar Dunga Khal was broken and an avalanche-prone area. We emerged a little above Sundar Dunga Khal on the east and descended to the col. To our surprise, we saw a small clearing for camping on the south of the pass, as well as an old cairn possibly made in 1934. After spending half an hour, we made a quick descent and returned to our base camp the same evening, tired but satisfied. It was strenuous 3 days, but we had the satisfaction of spectacular views of Nanda Devi Main, East, and all the other peaks including Kalanka and beautiful Changabang. And being the first party in 67 years to reach Sundardunga Khal, the feeling was one of sheer joy. After returning from Sundardunga Khal, I, with Samgal Sherpa and a local guide, Kalyan Singh, decided to look for an alternative route to enter the inner sanctuary across the high col above our base camp into the Trishul Nala. We started above base camp, traversing across few steep gullies to reach a small Nala to Patal Khan, from where we climbed up a Nala and camped at 5,000 meters. The panoramic views from the camp were spectacular. The following day, on 20th September, we descended the slopes above Upper Bhujgara Nala and finally reached the col and crossed over into the Trishul Valley. The descent was steep across the gullies going south and traversing towards Tridang, the base camp of Trishul. We descended over a few grassy slopes but mostly rocky gullies. We found several cairns up to the lowest point above Trishul Nala. The local shepherds from Lata and nearby village used to bring their flock of sheep and goats into the sanctuary prior to the closure of the sanctuary. We were unable to find the route on the lower slopes as last section had broken off. Kalyan Singh told us this route got damaged probably during the earthquake of 1991. We tried traversing on a small ridge the entire afternoon, trying to locate a route across the ridge which would have allowed us to descend to the Trishul Nala. However, finding no route, we had to climb back to the col and camp. Next day, we started to descend the Bhujgara Nala and finally joined the traditional route through the Rishi Gorge.
Exploration. Our time in the sanctuary was getting over as the first monsoon clouds started coming in. So we descended the Rishi Gorge and reached Ramani, but not before looking at the most magnificent evening sunset on Nanda Devi main peak. Now at Ramani, we sat at the banks of rushing Rishi Ganga in spade now. But we had many discussions. The sanctuary has been closed from 1983 to 2001, or even today at 2020. Almost one or two generations of mountaineers or climbers have not seen the sanctuary. So what you do is such beautiful areas and beautiful peaks. You can't keep them wrapped up in plastic as if for the future generation. Or you cannot allow everybody to come here and destroy it as they may wish. So where is the golden mean by which such areas can be enjoyed and protected? And it is hoped that the reports of our expedition, such a golden mean would be found. We prepared a detailed report and submitted to various departments of government where we had to, and it was considered by ministries and everybody. But as they say in the bureaucratic world, that reports were submitted, meetings were held, committees were held, committees were formed, and nothing was done. That remains so. And sanctuary remains closed, and nothing much has been happening there. With this, we hope that finally the goddess will bless everybody, attract, and ultimately we'll be able to enjoy it more. Thank you.